Goeiemôre almal, dis weer Juffrou Nagel. So vandag doen ons 'n bietjie lydende vorm. So we're doing passive, the passive voice. So I know it's something that is quite scary. It's something that isn't easy. So we'll just go through like a few things, a few facts about Lydende Vorm, and then also like the three different rules we have, the three different formulas we'll have with examples, everything. Yeah. So this is the passive voice, and instead of the subject actively doing the object is being done by the subject. So obviously, active means you're actively busy doing something, where passive means you're sort of sitting back and you're not really doing anything. So it's not very common in the spoken language. It is used in journalism and writing. And this is why it's not always the easiest to do, because you don't always hear it. And yeah, just to know that Afrikaans people struggle with Lydende Vorm. It is difficult for some Afrikaans people to write a sentence in the Lydende Vorm since they don't speak like that. I know that I struggled with it so much in high school, because, to me the sentences still sound right if you do something else. And that's because usually the spoken language is a little bit broken. It doesn't always follow the rule 100%. Especially, I feel like with younger Afrikaans people, it doesn't always happen. But this is why, if I had this formula that I'm going to show you now, I think I would have been able to do that. The problem, again, is that Afrikaans people don't get told stompie because, it's just the way we speak. But as first additional language speakers, you learn about stompie, okay? And this is what we're going to follow. So you're remember that stompie is your friend. So since we are just restructuring the sentence, being able to identify what part of stompie is where will help you. So that is really important. You need to be able to identify which part of stompie is that word, that thing. And usually the sentences that you get given in tests or your books should actually follow stompie. Because if we don't give it to you according to stompie, it actually means that the book, or maybe in the test or the exam, the teacher made a grammatical error because we teach you stompie, so that's the formula we have to write a sentence. So this is just before you start to write your sentence in the Lydende Vorm, follow these 3 steps. So this is before we go to the formulas. You need to do these 3 things. And just remember that in your language test, or in your paper 1s, you usually have quite a lot of time, because there's a lot of time added for reading time. So I would advise you to always, just before you even start with your language, before you start writing down the sentences, highlight all the different things that you have to highlight, and then start changing the sentences and write down your answers. Because I think sometimes when you rush, you make silly mistakes. So just taking your time a little bit will help you to avoid those silly little mistakes. So step 1. Apply stompie to your sentence. So that's really important, I just told you. So the sentence you have immediately with a pen or a pencil or a highlighter, just circle each thing and say, this is my subject, this is my verb 1, time, object, manner, place, verb 2, infinitive. Step 2, underline your verb 1 and identify the tense of the sentence. So this is quite important, because the 3 rules we follow the 3 rules or formulas we have are sort of for the 3 different tenses. Still a little exception with the last one. We'll go through that. But it's important to be able to identify in which tense it is, what your verb 1 is, because that's going to make it easier to rewrite it according to the formula. And then step 3, underline any pronouns that are alone as your subject or your object. So it means there can't be anything, it can't be a possessive that says his clothes, her car. It's not allowed to do that. If it just says his or her or I, is it I? Yeah. Then you need to underline it. So when it is alone, when the pronoun is alone as the subject or the object, because we will go through it now, but they're basically sort of they change, okay? And that is why it's important just to do that. So then there are 3 formulas. So we have a formula for the teenwoordige tyd, so that's present tense. We have a formula for verlede tyd, that's past tense. And then the third one, I know even I said this in class before, I call it the future tense rule, But technically speaking, it's the helping verb rule because all helping verbs fall under this category. So that is why I said hulpwerkwoorde, the helping verb rule. So we'll start with the first one, okay? And this is teenwoordige tyd, present tense. So right now, most of you are teenagers. So I use those emojis because I'm assuming they're teenagers. So this just means your verb 1, because remember I told you to always go and check out your verb 1. Your verb 1 will be a normal doing word. It will be a normal verb. So it would be like spring, hardloop, koop, loop, anything in that line, a normal verb 1. So this is where the formula comes in, okay? So the formula for present tense Lydende Vorm, you will start with your object. Your verb 1 for Lydende Vorm in the present tense is word, okay? So that is the thing you have to add in. Then we have time, manner. Then you need to add in the word deur, subject, place, geverb, okay? So your original verb 1 that becomes your verb 2 now needs to get a ge in front of it, and then you end with your infinitive. Okay, so just like look at this a little bit, look at the formula, and keep in mind that like the association you need to make in your head is usually with the verb 1. So you need to make in your head, okay, Lydende Vorm, present tense verb 1 is always word. Okay, so autumnspie basically. So instead of stompie, we have autumnspie. So this is just an example. So Saartjie koop daagliks blomme vinnig by die blommemark om vir haar ouma te gee. So remember what I said you should do first, okay, is identify each part of stompie. Now just excuse this might take a while because I'm not very good at this. I don't have a mouse, so I have to use like my little, that pad thingy. So our subjects would be Saartjie. Ooh, beautiful A's. Koop. Ooh, would be our verb 1. Daagliks would be our time. Blomme would be our object. Vinnig. Manner. By die blommemark would be our place. En om vir haar ouma te gee would be our infinitive. Okay, and if you look at the sentence, like we know now we're doing present tense, but koop is a normal verb, so it's present tense, so that's step 2. And then if you look at the sentence, there are no pronouns that are used alone as the subject or the object. So once you've done this, do you realize that after you applied stompie, if you have this formula in your head, if you have memorized this formula, you would be able to rewrite it into the Lydende Vorm. So our answer would be, blomme word daagliks vinnig deur Saartjie by die blommemark gekoop om vir haar ouma te gee. Okay, so it's just restructuring stompie. That is basically what we are doing. And just remember, it's all about it sounding right. Okay, and this is why we have this formula, because otherwise the sentence wouldn't make sense. It's in English, it's the same thing. If you just rewrote it with the objects and then verb 1 and you didn't follow the rest, it might literally just sound like it's going to sound stupid. That's what's going to happen. Okay. So let's do a few examples. So what's going to happen here, there will be a sentence on the board. And once the snail crosses, it's not a slow snail though, but once the snail crosses your screen or the screen, just know that I'm going to post the answer. So if you haven't gotten to the answer yet, just pause it at this place. So sy bou 'n splinternuwe groentetuin. Okay, so before I show you the answer, let's just apply those 3 steps. So the first one is applying stompie. So saying would be our subject. Bou, verb 1, and 'n splinternuwe groentetuin would be our object. Now, if you look at bou, it's a normal verb, so it's a present tense sentence, and then we actually do have a pronoun that is on its own. Okay, so this means it will change. So your answer should be, 'n splinternuwe groentetuin word deur haar gebou. Okay? And this is where this sort of comes in. So when some pronouns are used alone in your sentence as your subject or object, they will change. So it would usually, but just remember, it's when it's used alone. So ek en my, jy en jou, sy en haar, en hy en hom. And this is something you have to remember, and it also really goes back to like, you're sort of restructuring the sentence, and that's basically what we're doing because it sounds better. It doesn't, if you said 'n splinternuwe groentetuin word deur sy gebou, it doesn't sound right, okay, at all. So that is basically why it changes. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So Saartjie tel die rommel in die tuin op. Sorry for you people outside. Oopsies. So die rommel word deur Saartjie in die tuin opgetel. Now the thing that was just a little bit tricky here is with the opgetel. So when there's a random preposition at the end of your sentence, keep in mind that it's part of your verb 1. It's one action. It says she picked it up. Okay, she didn't pick it, she didn't up it, she picked it up. So it is one action. We call them skeibare werkwoorde, or like I used to call them, well, when I was younger at school, we were taught about deeltjie werkwoorde. And basically what this means, it is a verb that can be written as 1 or as 2 in a sentence, and the meaning is exactly the same. The meaning doesn't change at all. So an easy way, it doesn't always work like that, okay? But an easy way to sort of remember it is that if you have a random preposition at the end of your sentence, it isn't part of stompie. And this is how you would know that it is part of your verb 1. Sort of with anything else as well. If you have a random word there at the end of your sentence and it's not part of stompie, keep in mind that it goes back to the verb 1. Okay. The last example. Jan maak sy eie klere van herwinbare materiaal. So sy eie klere word van herwinbare materiaal deur Jan gemaak. So I know with the last two I didn't do like the apply stompie, it's just like it's a little bit difficult with this keypad thing, but just keep in mind that you always need to do this. And you also see here that we do have a pronoun in our sentence, but is it alone? No. Sy eie klere, his own clothes. So because it isn't on its own, that is why it doesn't change. Okay. Now we're going on to the next rule, and this is for verlede tyd, past tense. So this was back when you were little children. So your verb 1 will be het. So in the sentence that you get, your verb 1 will be het. So yeah, what is it like? I do realize that a lot of the time kids struggle with this one specifically, and actually the helping verb 1. But with this one, it is object. Your verb 1 is. Okay, so Lydende Vorm past tense verb 1 is is. Then time, manner, deur, subject place, geverb, infinitive. The nice thing about this is your second verb will already be in the right place and it will already have a ge in front of it if it has to have a ge in front of it. And, oh, this freaking bird. So if we use this example, Piet het gister 'n renoster aangeneem. If we apply stompie to this, Piet would be our subject, het would be our verb 1, gister, time, these haddy-da's. 'n renoster will be your object, and aangeneem would be your verb 2. Okay, so see, it already has a ge there, so it makes it a little bit easier. And your sentence has changed to 'n renoster is gister deur Piet aangeneem. So the thing that is really important to know is that is replaces the het. There is no het in Lydende Vorm. And that is something you struggle with. Sometimes kids still keep the het in your sentence. Remember, there is no het in Lydende Vorm. Is replaces it. And is the only verb one that indicates past tense in Lydende Vorm. Okay, nothing else, just is. So let's do a few examples. Again, the same as before. When the snail crosses the screen, I'm going to show the answer. So hy het sy rommel opgetel. Oh my word, these huddy-does. Can you, I don't know if you can hear them. Maybe I'm just going crazy or I'm sounding crazy, but they're there. Okay, so let's just apply Stompie to the sentence first. So hy would be our subject. Het would be our verb one. Sy rommel would be our object. And opgetel would be our verb two. So sy rommel is deur hom opgetel. So here we did have a pronoun that gets changed because it was on its own as the subject. Okay? So sy rommel is deur hom opgetel. So die rommel het hom baie kwaad gemaak. So hy is baie kwaad deur die rommel gemaak. Okay, because hom, it was a pronoun on its own. Okay. And have you seen so far in all the answers, there are no hets. Like, they're not there. They're gone. Gone. Okay, they're replaced by is in the Lydende Vorm. Let's do another example. So Jaden het die vorige jaar al sy rommel mooi herwin. So al sy rommel is die vorige jaar mooi deur Jaden herwin. Oh, I didn't add this here, sorry. But just to add, if a sentence or a verb already has a prefix, okay, so HER, it's a prefix. If it already has a prefix, you can't add ge in front of it. Okay, it's impossible. You can't have the two prefixes in one word. So now we're going on to the last rule. And this is the hulpwoorde. I use like fire people because they help us. Okay, so with helping verbs, this formula is for all helping verbs, including their past tense versions. So it's sal and so, kan and kon, moet en moes, wil and wou, and mag. And what is really important about this as well, and you'll see with the formula, and I'll explain now, it's important to sort of know the meaning of these like verb ones. Okay, because it's going to be important for the formula. So sal and so means will and would. Okay, I'm just going to say the past tense the whole time. Kan means you can do something. Moet means you must do something. Wil means you want to do something. And mag means you may do something. I know some people say like the past tense version of mag is moch, but I've never used it as an Afrikaans person. I think it's pretty outdated, so that's why I didn't add the past tense in there. So now this formula is a little bit tricky. Okay? So your formula is object, verb one. You use the verb one that is already in the sentence. You cannot change the helping verb because that's going to change the whole meaning of the sentence. As we just sort of went through before, each helping verb has a specific meaning. So once you take that out, it won't have the same meaning anymore. Okay, so that is why you would keep the same verb one. Then you have time, manner, deur, subject, place, geverb, word. Okay, so here we add another verb into it, and that is word, and then we have the infinitive. The reason for that is the sentence sounds incomplete when it's not added there. It doesn't sound right. And just remember that helping verbs always need a little extra help. Okay, they need a little extra help. They can't function alone in a sentence. Okay, So that's why I'm saying this one's a little bit more tricky than the other one. So it's object, verb 1, you use the verb 1 that is already in your sentence. So the helping verb they gave you, you use it exactly as it is. Do not change it. Time, manner, deur, subject, place, geverb, word, infinitive. So Nicole sal môre haar rommel vinnig by die fabriek herwin om die aarde te help. Okay, so let's apply stompie to the sentence. So Nicole would be our subject. Sal, verb 1. Môre is time. Haar rommel is our object. Vinnig is manner. By die fabriek is place. Herwin is our verb 2. And dan om die aarde te help would be our infinitive. Okay. So this would change to haar rommel sal môre vinnig deur Nicole by die fabriek herwin word om die aarde te help. Okay. I'm just going to read you the sentence without the word. And I know sometimes as English speakers or any other language speakers, it's not always easy to identify that there is a mistake. But as an Afrikaans person, I can tell you, maybe as an English person or another language speaker, you would also identify that the sentence does not sound complete if the word isn't there. So you cannot say, haar rommel sal môre vinnig deur Nicole by die fabriek herwin om die aarde te help. It doesn't make any sense. The sentence is incomplete. You need the word there. Okay, says it's going to be, it's going to happen. Okay. So let's do a few examples, the same as before. When the snail crosses the screen, I'm going to post the answer. So Kobus mag nie sy rommel op die vloer gooi nie. Okay, let's apply stompie to the sentence before we start. So Kobus is our subject. Mag is our verb 1. Sy rommel, object. Sorry. Op die vloer is place. Gooi is our verb 2. So sy rommel mag nie deur Kobus op die vloer gegooi word nie. So important here, when you have negatives in your sentence, you leave them where they are. Do not move them around, change the rest of the sentence, and leave them exactly where they are. In this case, we were just following the normal negative rule, which is the first sneeze after the verb 1, and the second one is at the end of your sentence. So here's another one. Frida sal volgende week klere by die tweedehandse winkel koop. So klere sal volgende week deur Frida by die tweedehandse winkel gekoop word. And a last example. Nathan moet min water gebruik om sy gras nat te maak. Min water moet deur Nathan gebruik word om sy gras nat te maak. Okay, so those were the 3 rules. There obviously always are sort of like exceptions. And we're just going to go sort of through 2 of them now. They're not like full-on exceptions, but just be careful of them. And then, yeah, that's it. I have to say, like, Lydende Vorm, I think, is easy once you have memorized the formula. I'm pretty sure there are a lot better ways to actually explain and teach it, but I think this one is something that, like, when I started teaching, it is something that actually worked for me. I was told this by another teacher when I started, and it actually helped so much. So just keep the following in mind. The first one is conjunction. So when you have a conjunction, you just change the first sentence to the Lydende Vorm. It is really important to know that the conjunction rule overrules the Lydende Vorm rule. You cannot move the verb 1 around after conjunction has been used because it won't make sense. It's not going to sound grammatically correct. The conjunction rule is probably one of the most important rules in Afrikaans. So I'm just using an example here. So Ntokozo het gister haar rommel weggegooi omdat sy die aarde wil red. Okay, so the first thing here is, what is our conjunction? It is omdat. Okay, so this is our sentence 1. It's actually the one that we would change to the Lydende Vorm. And this one we're going to keep exactly as it is. Like, we're not going to touch it. We're not going to do anything to it. Okay, because it follows the conjunction rule. So we're just going to change the first part. So let's just do this. So Ntokozo is our subject. Het is our verb 1. Gister is time. Haar rommel is our object. And weggegooi is our verb 2. So, haar rommel is gister deur Ntokozo weggegooi omdat sy die aarde wil red. Okay, so with conjunctions, you just change the first sentence to the Lydende Vorm. And then no object. So when a sentence doesn't have an object, you can still change it to the Lydende Vorm. Daar, so there, becomes your object. Okay? So rommel lê op die vloer, so if we have to apply stompie to this, rommel would be our subject. I'm just going to stop making those brackets because those are the ones that give me problems. This would be the verb 1, and op die vloer would be the place. So we see we have no object, but we can still change it to the Lydende Vorm. So it's daar, and then you follow the rest of the rule, okay, the formula. So daar word die rommel op die vloer gelê. Okay, so that's basically it. I hope this helps a little bit, and good luck with everything. Ja, tot ziens almal.